In this video, we will tell the story of an army of French soldiers who switched sides and joined the Ottomans during the Austro-Turkish War from 1593 to 1606. This story is narrated by an Ottoman historian and bureaucrat by the name of Mustafa Naima in his book Annals of the Turkish Empire from 1591 to 1659 of the Christian era. Events of the year 1008. H. Chapter 140. The French soldiers stationed at Papa joined the Osmanlis. About 3,000 of the French troops, who had been sent to assist the Germans against the Osmanlis, were appointed to garrison the fortress of Papa. Having been in this fortress for about a whole year, and having received no wages for the service which they had rendered, they quarreled with the Hungarian soldiers of that place, had frequent sharp skirmishes with them, and at last slew them. On this account, they applied to Muhammad Pasha, Begler Bey of Romeli, who was at Buda, and offered to deliver up Papa to him if he would agree to pay them the wages which were due to them. They made a similar application to Dervish Pasha, Begler Bey of Bosnia, and who was stationed at Alba Julia. Mohammed Pasha complied with the request of these Frenchmen and sent his lieutenant, Abdi Aga, with 400 men, and also the Bey of Alba Julia, Arnaud Hassan Pasha, with his troops to support the above renegades against all who came against them and to avenge the death of their brethren. The Moslem aid which was thus sent them did it effectually, for they slew all who came to oppose them, carried away with them all their wives and children, and distributed them for slaves among those of the troops who had been most active. 3 of the most respectable and most honorable of these captives they sent, under the charge of Hassan Pasha, to Belgrade. In the meantime, a statement of the amount of wages due to the Frenchmen by the Austrian government, and which amounted to 50,000 pieces of gold, and for which they had stipulated to deliver up Papa to the Osmanlis, was sent off to Constantinople without any unnecessary delay. The government readily agreed to the proposal, but before the money could be sent to them, the Germans surrounded Papa with cannon and soldiers, so that, in fact, neither the money nor anything else could be sent to them. The poor Franks remained more than a month in this besieged condition, and thinking it hopeless to wait any time longer in this state of suspense and danger, they, under the covert of the night, secretly left the fortress and tried to escape to the mountains near Alba Julia, about 6 leagues distant. Not being acquainted with the road, they were soon overtaken by German and Hungarian soldiers, who slew the greater part of them. Nevertheless, 500 or 600 of them, who escaped falling into the hands of their pursuers, eventually found their way to Alba Julia in a very weak and wounded condition. 500 of them remained at Alba Julia, and the remainder went or were sent to the Sirdar, or commander-in-chief. This account of the Frenchmen of Papa is taken from the Fezleke, but Hassan Bey Zadeh and Abdul Qadir relate the story somewhat differently. From their account of the fact, it appears that the French who had garrisoned Papa had written to Dervish Pasha, proposing to deliver up that fortress on the condition of receiving a sum equal to what was due to them by the Austrian government, also of being received into regular pay, and that pay to be regularly paid to them at the end of every 3 months. Their number amounted, they stated, to 2,000, and they promised to be every way serviceable to their new masters, provided their offer was accepted. 60,000 ducats was the sum they demanded, which the exalted Sirdar agreed should be advanced to them, and immediately sent an account of the whole affair to the court of Constantinople. The money required, and 10,000 ducats in addition for paying traveling expenses, were sent to Dervish Pasha, who sent it to the Franks. To the principal or leading man among these Franks, who was a cardinal, a gold chain was sent along with the 60,000 ducats. As soon as the money and the gold chain were delivered to the Franks, they put the Osmanlis in possession of Papa and immediately joined Dervish Pasha. They were afterwards escorted by one of the Agas to Belgrade, where they entered into the service of the Turks. The exalted Serdar, sometime afterwards, showed them very great respect in the siege of Kanisa, they being the very first who entered the trenches on that occasion. The same night on which they entered into these trenches, the Serdar gave them 50,000 ducats over and above the pay, which was due to them. This race was found most active and useful in the following campaigns, and were always preferred to other infidels. Several hundreds of them afterwards accompanied Sultan Osman Khan in his wars, and were most serviceable to him whilst engaged against the northern nations. These French or Franks did not kill in the ordinary way. Such of the Russians and Cossacks as fell into the hands of the Moslems were delivered over to these Franks, who first fixed them alive on spits and then roasted them before a fire, turning them round and round till they perished by the process. Please help the channel by leaving a like and subscribing for more future videos. Your help is very appreciated.